Perth WAtch, your horology channel, broadcasting from right here in Perth, Western Australia. Guys, today I am featuring that rare beast, a watch which I wanted to get and I went out to get for myself, and I am going back to CASIO, a brand which sadly I haven't featured for a while, but you know, here it is. I am featuring a CASIO today, and is none other than a ProTrek watch. So it comes in this MDF box, which you know a lot of modern ProTreks do come in. So guys, without further ado, let's flip it around and take a closer look at today's piece. Alright guys, so here we have the ProTrek box on the table. This one actually is pretty darn well balanced. This spinability is at least a 4, if not a 4.5 out of 5, I reckon. You know, it's one of the most spinnable cases I have seen. So it's got this really kind of just MDF, isn't it? Is what this is, and then a cardboard which is holding the particular watch in here. Okay, so just going to take that out. Nothing much more in there, and I'm not going to go through the manuals which comes in the cardboard box which houses that MDF box. So guys, here is the watch close up for you. This is the ProTrek PRG-600YB-3. So you know that letters denote possibly the yellow numerals or yellow-green numerals with the black dial black bezel or gunmetal bezel with this cloth strap, right? The MSRP of this piece is $350 USD officially from CASIO USA. Of course, different prices in Australia, but on sale on Amazon right now that I have checked, and in fact what I got it for was around $215 USD, and at that price this is pretty stonking value, amazing value, I think. Okay, firstly, in a different order for quartz watches, I'm going to talk about the case. The case here is a 47mm black resin case. So black colored resin is what we have here. The bezel is 45mm width here, and the full width, if you want to talk about the full width between my two forefingers here, is 51.5mm. That's the full width here. The thickness is 13.1 millimeters. All right, so fairly thin here. I think Amazon and otherwise states 13.4, but I've measured with calipers and I'm getting a measurement of 13.1. The lug-to-lug distance, I guess it's not really lug-to-lug. The case height is also 51.5 millimeters. So I guess it's a little bit cuboidal. So that dimension there between, you know, there is 51.5, and then the height of the case, right, between my thumbs here is also 51.5. Lug width for this strap is 24 millimeters. This is what the strap we're dealing with here. And overall weight is only 66 grams. I think if you had a resin strap, it's probably just over 70 grams, but this cloth strap makes this watch weigh 66 grams. The construction is, of course, screw down case back, mean screw secured, not screw down, sorry. So 4 screws down the back here, which is very much the case with almost all ProTrek and many G-Shocks as well. It's going to be screw construction rather than screw down case back. It's got a smart access screw down crown, all right, and you guys, you know, if you're into your ProTreks and higher range G-Shocks, you know what that smart access is. It allows you to set the time and other settings quickly or in a more analog way. With that screw down crown, the water rating here is 100 meters. All right, just going to talk about the dial now. So the dial here is, there is a sunburst to it. It may be a bit difficult for me to show you in this light here, but it's a black sunburst dial. It's got a sub mode dial at 10 o'clock, which shows you all the different modes of this watch. It's got a super twisted pneumatic reverse LCD display, and STN is supposed to make it clearer, and I think it probably does in comparison with other non-STN displays. It's got raised green colored, very, I guess, yellow-green indices to me. All the cardinal positions, as well as those big 3, 9, and 12 numerals, on the dial here. The compass numbers, I suppose you call it, except the 6 is taken up by that STN LCD display. It's got raised chapter indices as well as indices around the peripheral on the chapter ring here. The chapter ring is raised from the surface. Hopefully you can appreciate that from the close-ups and the macro shots that I'll show you guys here, as well as having a inner 24-hour track, right? You can see there, 13, 14, 16, whatnot, kind of giving you that aviation feel style to this dial here. It's got CASIO Neo Bright Lume on all the hands, as well as the compass numbers and the indices around the peripheral chapter ring, not the larger indices on the inner dial there. And a lume shot right here, of course, for you guys to appreciate how it looks like in the dark. The dial is also lit by dual LED lights, so one behind the LCD display and one at the 6 o'clock position, which points up at the dial. And I'll show you a lit shot here for you guys to see as well. Okay, surrounding the dial is this steel bezel, right? This is steel, there's a bit of brushing to it, and I want to call this gunmetal. This is really what it looks like, rather than black. And you can see it's got those time zone indicators all around it to show you the time zones of this watch. Roughly 30 time zones is what we're having here, including UTC. And the glass on top is a flat piece of hardened mineral glass, right? It's not sapphire, and I don't think any of this range comes in sapphire, and Casio don't tend to do sapphire at this type of price range. You kind of have to go up towards the 500 mark to get sapphire, as far as I have seen. Right, talking about the movement now. So the movement is very capable, tough solar, triple sensor, quartz multifunction module. It's module 5497. Now, how does it differ from, say, the 5470, which is in this ProTrek? Right, this watch still gets wrist time in a very similar module. You can see similar mode position, LCD position, as well as 3-hand analog and smart access crown. What are the differences? Right, this watch is a more expensive watch. Well, as far as I can tell, this one is not a tough solar movement. Right, it's not a tough movement. It doesn't have the automatic home position correction, and of course, it also doesn't have the multi-band 6 radio signal reception for atomic timekeeping. Okay, so that is the main differences. Apart from that, as far as I can tell, all the functions are the same. Okay, right, so what functions does it have? Right, it's an ABC watch, and of course ABC is a little bit of a misnomer, altimeter, barometer, compass, but the triple sensor actually, the third sensor is actually temperature, right? Altimeter, barometer is really just a pressure sensor. And now going into the modes here, so over here you're getting the compass, right? And it uses the second hand as the direction, and you can see as I turn it, it's going to want to point north, which is actually to my right here, and you're getting that digital readout for the compass. Now this one's altimeter, and you can see it's the range is -700 to 10,000 meters in 1 meter steps, and that's what it's reading right now. Okay, and then back to main time, and you can see as I switch back to main time, it gives you the battery readout H in that square there, which means the battery charge is on high. So very quick, but that's the battery readout on this particular watch. Now the altimeter gives relative readings as well. I think it gives your total ascent, total descent, highest point, lowest point, and you can also actually have a 30 record log memory here, so 30 records in the altitude memory. The barometer now, so this is where you use this button to change the mode, and this is going right now to barometer. Barometer range 260 to 1100 hectopascals. You're getting differential graphs and pressure change alarms as well. So if you have a sudden change in pressure, you can actually set this to beep and measure, I think, in more frequent intervals. I'm not going to do too much in the functions of the watch. There's so many functions here, and if you want to look it up, you can. All right, temperature. Okay, so you can see the temperature there. Now, temperature is really not accurate when it's on your wrist. It's going to be affected by your body heat. But if it's on a layer outside, let's say you wear it outside on some sort of ski jacket, it probably is a lot more accurate. Let me know if you've got experiences with the temperature. In my experience, if it's on your wrist, it's going to be definitely reading much more to your body's, your body surface temperature there. Range actually is pretty wide, -10 to 60 degrees, so there's some cold resistance capability of this watch. Next mode is the altitude memory. So as I said, 30 records as well as historical highs, lows, and changes. And you can actually also select the measuring intervals as well. So there are lots of functionality and adjustment here. Again, look it up if you want. I'm not going to have time to go through all of that. It's got a 1/100th of a second 24-hour stopwatch, right? Of course, it's got the split measure. Right, and that's really it. That's the stopwatch there, and you can hear the little beeps that it makes. It's got a 60-minute 1-second countdown timer. I'll show you the smart access here actually. So if you want to set the timer, you kind of pull out the smart crown and you can go up in 1, or if you do it like that, you can go up faster, okay, and stop it this way. Right, so that's how you set functions with this smart access crown here. Just going to screw it back in. Right, 5 daily alarms as well as an hourly time signal if you wish. And let's just show the alarm sound. So, you might struggle to wake up with that, but of course, if you're awake during the day and you're using that as a reminder, you will definitely hear that sound. That's my feeling about the volume of these Casio alarms. And then lastly, the last mode I think is world time. So right now it's set to UTC, and you can see the seconds hand went up to the 12 o'clock position to change to UTC. And that's really what you're looking at, right? And the home time display, my current time is there on the LCD. And you can swap the times around as with other watches that you might have seen. Okay, that's really just telling you it's AM UTC. All right, I'm not going to show you how to change this. You can, again, look it up. Back to home time. So that's the entire functionality or modes of the watch that I've gone through here. Now, how long does this solar last? 7 months on a fully charged battery if you never let it charge again. Or if you leave this watch complete darkness, it goes into power save mode, meaning the seconds hand doesn't tick anymore and the LCD turns off. It goes for 25 months. That's what it's rated for. And of course, I've showed you the power indicator, just low, medium, high, really. That's really all it tells you. All right, moving on to the band then, all right? So hopefully that gives you a feel of the stonking functionality of this watch. This is what they call Durasoft, whatever, it's basically a kind of a woven cloth band. In this case, it's got this nice field green color. It's stitched. And it's got these kind of leatherette keepers. Now this keeper is a bit loose. That's a weak point, right? When you wear it, it tends to want to slip off. Hence, I've kind of hacked it with a bit of a thread there to hold it in a more proximal position towards the band here. So it doesn't slip off when I wear it. And it's got a little simple steel buckle. Right, that's it, guys. That's the entire description of the watch. I'm going to pop it on the wrist for a wrist shot for you guys now. And there we have it, guys. My Casio Pro Trek PRG-600 on my 17cm wrist. No getting away the fact that it's a large watch. So 51.5 case height, right, is, I guess that dimension, if you want to call that case height, is definitely large. But, it's a Pro Trek, it's a field style casual watch, and it kind of gets away with it. So remember, 13.1mm tall. It's that's how it looks like, and that's how that cloth strap sits, and it is very comfortable. At 66 grams, very easy to forget about this. And again, I'll show you this thing tends to want to slip off, so that thread, in my hack here helps hold it in place. Otherwise, you're going to have that hanging loose. Okay, guys, that's the wrist shot and description here. What have I really enjoyed about this watch? Well, look. I think massive value, right? 220 USD. This is massive value, extensive, range of features packed in this triple sensor, tough solar module here. This is what you're getting, super value from Casio. It really is a super capable Pro Trek in what I think is a great looking package. I think this is, right now and historically as well, the best looking Pro Trek model with this field style look. And why is that? I think it's got a feel of a more mechanical model, I guess a more traditional looking model with that field watch, yet it's packed with so much features on the dial here. Yes, it is a little bit busy, but I think that's because it's catering for all those features that it gives you. It's very light, very comfortable, and it's really got a very balanced look. I think the way that they've matched the strap width to this case, to that dial, very balanced, very pleasant look, and I think the best looking ProTrek. You know, I've got my Panerai PAM914 here, which I'm very, very fond of. And then look at that, you know, nearly identical in terms of sizing and spacing. I think, you know, of course, Casio wouldn't have looked at Panerai to copy. I don't think they tend to do that. They just tend to do their own thing. But if there was a Casio Pro Trek homage to a Panerai, this would be it. Look at that. Look at how similar they are. And I love it how it sits side by side here. All right. What are the weaknesses? You know, yes, it's not perfect, right? It is a large watch and it's a black plastic or resin case. So there's no getting away from the fact that this is limited to casual and functional settings. I'm never going to wear this with a suit. I'm not going to wear it with a shirt and tie either. That's not something that is suitable for, I think. The temperature readout, as I've mentioned, is relatively useless on the wrist, right? It really just reads your wrist skin temperature. You know, this keeper I've mentioned doesn't keep very well, not in my particular watch here anyway. If you like the resin ones, they're going to function very differently, and probably you don't need to hack it like I have. And if you like to change the straps, right, if you're a person who likes to swap this out for the resin, well, you might be in for a little bit of shock. Casio original aftermarket straps tend to be quite expensive, and don't be surprised if you have to pay, say, $80 for the resin strap. Yep, it's just resin, but you know, that's what Casio OEM costs if you're going to buy it aftermarket. And then lastly, I'll mention it is mineral glass. A pity that they don't tend to do sapphire at this price range, because so many, you know, brands, you know, I guess budget brands, homage or micro brands will give sapphire at an MSRP of $350. Casio don't have to, but you know, that's a little gripe that I have. So that's it, guys. A long review, but you know, it's well deserved with this multifunction. Flipping the camera around now for the wrap up. So there you go, guys, my review of this Casio Pro Trek PRG-600 model, a watch I think is supremely capable, and at the price that I got it for is amazing value. You know, just the value that you're getting for this tough solar watch. Let me know what you think about this, particularly if you're a fan of Casio. If you have any ProTrek models especially, I would love to hear your experiences and what you especially like about Casio, about ProTrek, about G-Shock, any of their ranges. Love to hear your thoughts and discussion below. Guys, if you enjoy my channel, do consider subscribing. New content every week, always aiming to be objective and unbiased about all things horology. Thank you again for sticking with me, and as always, I'll catch you guys again next time.